Let's welcome to the show former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Tom Dupree and former Congressional investigator Sam Dewey. We're going to talk first to you both about this. This debate is now firing up in Washington, that this has legs, and it could stop the White House and D.C. dead in their tracks. Tom, that Biden administration officials should be probed for obstruction of justice in the Hunter Biden tax evasion case when that veteran top IRS agent in that IRS criminal division, that whistleblower, Tom, when that person gives Congress the emails, documents, and proof they say they have that DOJ officials blocked and stonewalled the Hunter Biden probe, doing political interference to help Joe Biden. Does this have legs, Tom?
Liz, it does. This is a bombshell story, and I think the ramifications are going to be playing out the weeks and the months ahead. What makes this so extraordinary and frankly confirms a lot of our worst fears that there were kind of, political skullduggery going on behind the scenes at DOJ and the IRS is that this is a career whistleblower. This is a career law enforcement official at the IRS who says that there were political considerations, there was a cover-up, there was false testimony in connection with Hunter Biden's tax returns and the investigation, and that he has documentation to back all of it up.
Yeah, so what Tom just said, Sam, the White House, by the way, is insisting there was no, quote, political interference. But, Sam, demands for special counsel here grows because there's even more evidence of obstruction by the White House that, the House GOP accuses President Biden of changing the rules on the Treasury releasing suspicious activity reports to Congress for its oversight duties, Sam, on the Biden family deal-making overseas.
Yeah, I think, this has the potential, as Tom said, to be a bombshell. And I think to your specific point on the Biden administration response, I think the devil's going to be in the details, because I think the Biden administration's position is, well, we never told them not to prosecute, but there's so many different ways that you can influence a prosecution. Think back to Hillary Clinton. They couldn't use compulsory process. They couldn't use other methods to get testimony. They were limited in what they could get. So from the congressional perspective, I imagine that, first of all, Congress will be trying to figure out, how do I get this without causing this person to be retaliated against? And how do I get this so everything's, done by the book?
Done by the book. So what Sam just said, by the way, Tom, there's a massive 150 of those red flag suspicious activity reports. Usually they're tips about potential money laundering and tax evasion. 150 on the Biden family loan. The whistleblower lawyer, Tom, Mark Little, says that his client can name names of DOJ officials working there now, possibly IRS witnesses, to corroborate his claims of political interference to protect Joe Biden and keep him in the White House, that he attended meetings with DOJ officials.
Yes, and that's what makes this story so extraordinary, Liz, is that this is not some guy who's watching events unfold from the periphery. He's not someone who is outside the room where it happened. Rather, this is a guy who was at the table where this investigation was being discussed. He knows who said what. He saw these political machinations playing out firsthand, and it bothered him so much that he's willing to take what's really an extraordinary, dangerous step for him. He's putting his career in jeopardy, the possibility, as Sam said, of retaliation by going public with what he saw, what he heard, and what he knows.
So what Tom just said, Sam, do you think when that IRS whistleblower comes forward with the documents showing potentially that specific DOJ officials under this White House placed restrictions on questions, witnesses, and tactics that investigators are going to use on the Hunter Biden case because it could impact President Biden? Do you feel, Sam, that this could lead to an obstruction of justice probe by the House into the Biden White House?
I think it almost certainly will, because I think what the focus is going to be, to Tom's point, all the indicia of reliability in this gentleman and just such flabbergasting testimony. I was in the room where this is discussed, and they said not to do this for political reasons. And I think the House has to pursue that. And, what I would expect them to do is say, okay, we're going to get the documents from you in the right way. You're going to sit for a deposition. We're going to get this all on the record. So you have the documents, you have his sworn testimony. And then they're going to say, okay, Congress, give me documents about the meeting that happened in the Deputy Attorney General's conference room on April 20th, 2022, and give me the documents for that meeting. And then I want to talk to the counsel, in the tax division who prepared the memo for that meeting. It's going to allow them to be incredibly targeted in their ask, which makes it very hard for the DOJ to resist, because this isn't, tell me about the investigation. This is, I know about the meeting. Tell me what happened in the meeting. Tell me what happened on that memo. So I think, that's what I would expect them to do, and it's going to be focused very much on obstruction. Now, when I say obstruction, that has a legal connotation of a criminal charge. It's also going to be focused on obstruction of, okay, you may not have broken the law, but you were clearly abusing your power. There are two different things there, and I think they're going to focus on both, because Congress has a responsibility to focus on, even if what you did is technically legal, did you abuse your power?
Yeah, that's it. What Sam just said. I mean, reports that, Tom, our D.C. sources that, I've been talking to, they say that this potentially is in the works, that there could be an obstruction of justice probe launched against this Biden administration. Reports that Justice Department and FBI already had collected sufficient evidence to charge Hunter Biden with tax crimes out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware on a case. That case dates back to at least 2018, 2019. And then there were reports that Hunter Biden borrowed $2 million to pay off a tax bill on income earned overseas. Let's please first get your reaction to the IRS whistleblower's lawyer, Mark Little, and watch A.G. Garland in action here. Watch this nuanced testimony. Watch this.
The things he's been through are very well documented in emails and other communications with the Department of Justice. Typical steps that a law enforcement investigator would take were compromised because of political considerations.
If it's in another district, he would have to bring the case in another district. But as I said, I have promised to ensure that he's able to carry out his investigation and that he be able to run it. And if he needs to bring it in another jurisdiction, he will have full authority to do that.
If the Justice Department received information that foreign persons had evidence of improper or unlawful financial payment paid to elected officials or other politically exposed persons, and those payments may have influenced policy decisions, would that pose a national security concern?
If it's an agent of a foreign government asking someone and paying someone to do things to support that foreign government in secret, yes, I definitely think that would be a national security problem.
Okay, so Tom, let's just break this down. This is important. What A.G. Garland just said in testimony sworn under oath will blow up a future White House defense, and it's this: that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware didn't have standing to bring a case against Hunter Biden because Hunter Biden doesn't live in Delaware. But A.G. Garland just saying, and Senator Grassley rightfully pointed out, they could bring that case anywhere else against Hunter Biden if the political appointees, the U.S. attorneys, do so. So dozens of U.S. attorneys appointed by Trump were asked to resign by February 2021. So that's where the political interference is coming in too, Tom.
Well, right. Look, Liz, when I look at this case, I don't see just a red flag. I see a forest of red flags. And that whole bit about, well, he doesn't live in Delaware, so that's not the right place. Well, fine. You got 49 other states where you could charge him if charges are warranted. I think that Congress needs to focus on this. I think they need to hear this whistleblower, and I think they need to get to the bottom of why they haven't acted on what seems to be very potentially serious tax violations.
Yeah, so final word, Sam, because we're hearing that that's the issue, that these political appointees in the Justice Department are blocking the tax indictment against Hunter Biden. But career prosecutors and investigators in the DOJ tax division are saying, do it. Go after it. And by the way, this IRS whistleblower, he's a veteran. She is a veteran. This person has a sterling record inside the IRS. And I'll tell you, I cover the IRS for years. When you talk about that IRS criminal unit, you're talking about top-notch, dedicated government employees who even some FBI officials are scared of because they're so smart and they know what they're doing. Final word, Sam.
I think that's right. That's what makes this extraordinary and credible. And I hope that Congress really focuses on what was the specific conduct that occurred here at the department, who did what when.
Okay, Tom Dupree, Sam Dewey, thank you so much. Let's stay on this news.